welcome. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Sarah Cohen and I'm the founder of the Styling Advisory, which is an educational and marketing organisation for styling and image business owners. Today's session, as always, my tea and chats is an informal way for us to share experiences as business owners, learn some best practice tactics, and just get together, particularly in the current environment that we're in. I think it's nice for everyone to meet other styling and image business owners and, number one, hear that everyone is experiencing similar challenges, and to maybe just get a reminder that, yeah, it is tough. You're not on your own. The isolation for creatives can be really difficult to push through. You know, I think when you're a creative, your energy and your motivation is fueled by connection with others. And so I know that's what I'm like. So I need personally environments like this where we can all just really encourage each other. So I'm just letting some other people in. But so today what I wanted to do is bring up this topic of the discovery call and get a feel for whether everyone is currently doing them, how they're performing. Hi, Donna.
Hello.
Good to see you. Donna, do you know another Melbourne image professional?
Oh, sorry, who's from Melbourne?
Me, Patricia.
Hello.
Hi, Donna.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
You know what we might do? Let's start by everyone going around and introducing themselves, and just maybe just letting everyone know whereabouts you are in your styling business journey, you know, whether you've been running a business for a while or whether you've just started, and what your take on the discovery call is, whether you're doing it at the moment and what the insights have been for you. I'll just sort of go around the tiles. Donna, we'll start with you. Did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sarah. So, yeah, Melbourne based. What can I say? I specialise in colour. Colour analysis is my most popular service. But I'm also an advocate for ethical fashion. So particularly micro businesses, the independent businesses that are here in Melbourne. And once upon a time before COVID, I used to run ethical fashion tours with my business partner, Briar. So they were, visits to see how fashion is created behind the scenes. I've been doing image consulting for over a decade now. I started off with employment-related presentation, but I sort of avoid corporate now. I've spent too many years in corporate, so I'm more into the, generally over 40s, but anyone who wants to sort of streamline and make sense of their wardrobe.
Excellent.
Do you want me to talk about whether I'm doing a discovery call currently?
Yeah.
I do offer it on my website. It's probably not obvious enough for people to really take advantage of it, or maybe they're just not interested. I don't get that many people wanting that. A few people do call me prior to a session, but it's usually to ask sort of general inquiries. Excellent.
Okay, I'm going to stop myself from commenting already. I'll just let everyone go through their introductions. Okay, Kate. Hi, Rebecca.
Yes. Oh,
Kate.
Whoops. Which Kate?
Kate with a C.
Yes, that's me. I am a new stylist. I do a discovery call. It's basically the first thing that I do with clients, just to find out what their needs are and sell my services and get them to say yes, and ask them some questions, understand where they're at. Yeah.
That's the first step in the customer journey for you always?
It is. Yep.
Excellent. Okay. And Marie, how are you, darling?
I'm good. Sorry, I just got in from the gym and jumped in the shower real quick, and I'm eating at the same time. That's why I'm off camera.
No worries at all.
I'm in Toronto, Ontario. It's muggy as hot. but that's okay. I'm sort of kind of new to the game. So right now I'm working with our beautiful and lovely and talented Sarah to help me. I want to work with women who are over 45 who need help being more confident on camera, showing up on camera. But that includes your mindset still and your style and all the behind the scenes things to get you to show up in your business, stop hiding, so you can conquer your fear of, getting in front of the camera. So this is kind of still like a whole new kind of thing for me, just working on a program now. So as far as discovery calls go, I haven't really, I still would offer one because I think it's important to find out whether somebody's the right fit, no pun intended, for you. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm really curious to see what other people are doing and how it's working out. If you need to do one, or you just go right into your service and that's it.
Well, to that point, Marie, there was a 2019 study done that said that 50 to 60% of your leads are not the right fit for your business. So the fact that you're doing that, the fact that your headspace is, no, I need to qualify whether this person is right for my business is most certainly necessary, I guess, to avoid getting yourself in the position that so many service providers do, where you feel compelled to change everything on the menu, maybe reduce or adjust your pricing and customize everything, which on the one hand might be fine. It depends on what your price point is and how much free time you have. But the discovery call is most certainly a qualifier, first and foremost. But we'll get into more details in a little while. Okay, going around the tiles. Beck Doster, how are you, darling?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you. Introduce yourself, my love.
I am Rebecca Doster. I'm in Athens, Georgia, home of REM and the B-52s, just outside of Atlanta. And I am an image consultant and wardrobe stylist. I work with over 50 women primarily. However, I also have been getting men and college students. So I get a little bit of everything. As far as whether or not I use a discovery call, I absolutely use a discovery call. Absolutely.
And do you find that is that has quite a high conversion rate, would you say?
Yes, I've only ever not converted one. So it is a good tool for sales, but it's also, I used to be a professional photographer and I photographed weddings and large events. And I would never take on a bride without a discovery call and getting to know them a little bit, because I know from that business, not every bride was a fit for me. If there's not chemistry, then it's not going to work. It's going to show. And I feel like the same thing is true in this business. If I don't have a chemistry with my clients, then I can't have the vulnerable conversations and I can't help them to build trust in me and step outside their comfort zone. So there has to be some of that.
So true. Ladies, everyone feel free to jump in here. As you know, I'll keep talking forever. But this is supposed to be us having a cup of tea and a chat. So everyone jump in. Laurie, would you agree?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Marie, I'm also in Canada. I'm vacationing with another family, so I've hidden out in the woods. I realized it's really, really buggy with my Aperol.
It's really beautiful there.
It's happy hour here, so we'll see people
so nice.
in from the
It
hot
is here
stuff.
too.
Yeah, I do have a discovery call on my website, and whether or not someone books right away online, like I always want to do a virtual discovery call with them, whether or not they're a potential client. I just feel when I'm meeting with people in person, I want to make sure it's a good fit, and it just makes me so much more comfortable in general, and whether or not we're on the same page. I'm a full-time teacher librarian in an elementary school, and then I do my styling on the side. It's actually gotten really busy, so I'm finding lately I'm as busy, it goes in waves, but my clients are mainly 40 plus people who are interested in style. They're busy and they just want to learn. So I think the teacher aspect for me helps, because they want to figure out how to make it work for themselves. But I have got a few returning clients that I've had for a long time, but I kind of get them up and running, and then they're good for a little while, and then they come back, for a refresh. So I'm trying to work on keeping it, more consistent with the same people. I feel like I teach them so much, then they're good to go.
Yes, absolutely. Excellent. So the discovery call for you is the initial part of the process, and I guess everything has to be prefaced with pre-COVID, and how we've all evolved and adapted our businesses now. Because a lot of, let's say in Australia, a lot of services right now have to be exclusively online. The call is just one step in the process. But prior to that, meeting someone in person, you would absolutely want to qualify, and depending on where that lead came from. I know a few image professionals that use Thumbtack and a couple of other online platforms to get jobs. Again, so
Thumbtack, I've not heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's I don't know whether there's Australian. Let me just double check. I think it's just the States. Does anyone in the States use Thumbtack?
I don't use it. I know what it is, but I've never used it.
Like a job site. And it's really quite interesting. Again, Australia is so different to the States, but people will post, people are looking for, customers will potentially look for someone to help them with a specific wardrobe or styling issue, and they can pick from all of the different stylists. So it's, do you know what it's almost like? It's like Upwork for all types of jobs, really. But we digress. Let's move on and hear from Patricia. Welcome.
Hi. I'm pretty much at the starting stage. I've worked in fashion since I was 17, but I haven't really focused on styling per se. So I'm here to learn from everybody else and just hear. I've done interior design as well, and so I've style and styling has always been in my sort of blood. And so I really want to do something with it now. I had all these ideas, and I'd set up the business and everything prior to COVID, and I had ideas of involving travel as well. I'm an Italian speaker as well, so I wanted to incorporate trips overseas, especially to Milan. And then, of course, COVID hit and everything's gone boom. So I'm really trying to reassess how I'm going to do things. And so I've got a mentor, which is going to help. And so we'll see where we go, where I take it. So it's a bit daunting at the moment, and basically 40 plus women as well. Yeah.
Excellent.
Whereabouts in Melbourne are you, Patricia?
In Ivanhoe.
Oh, yeah, not far from me. I'm North Fitzroy.
Oh, okay. Yep. Centre based. Yeah.
Beautiful. And we've got one other person, AA. Who are you? Welcome. Are you there? You there? We can't hear you, darling. No. What's your name? This is so funny. Has anyone seen the meme about how Zoom meetings are like the olden days seance? Are you there, Anne? Can you hear us? Anne, it is Anne. Yeah. Hi, Anne. How are you? Good. No, I'll answer because obviously we can't hear you. And have a play around with your settings and just jump in as soon as you think that it's working, and we'll hear from you. Did you hear? Oh, yes. Thanks, Anne. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat, everyone. It really is like a seance. Okay, so this is a really good topic, and I think it's one that I think it's great that everyone gets to share what works for them. I also know that the discovery call for some image professionals might feel a bit daunting or awkward or uncomfortable, because it is ultimately a pitch. You're asking for the sale. Of course, you're going to have an opportunity to start the relationship. This is the sort of first 5 minutes you get with a potential client, a lead, or a prospect. And it's really important that you set the tone right, because even if they're not ready to purchase at that moment, it will, this sets up the trajectory of their journey. For those of you that are familiar with the styling advisory and the marketing strategies or concepts that we talk about a lot, we focus on the client journey, the customer journey from a marketing perspective, which starts at the awareness stage. Typically, the person is sort of becoming aware of an issue that they have, and then they start to look for solutions. And in that consideration phase, they'll become aware of you, and then they're determining who is going to be the best fit before they convert. So the discovery call is an exciting time. And if you can nail that using a few different techniques, you will either convert them into a booking straight away, or be able to customize the journey, the way that you communicate and market with them moving forward. So when they are ready, you find it's a much easier transition. Let me ask you this. On a discovery call, how many of you find that the lead will basically say they just need help with everything? Like, you know, they really know. What, Donna, what's your experience? Oh, Donna, the ladies are so specific, aren't they?
Yeah, generally, not always, but often. As I said, not many people take it up, but the last one I had was very interesting. It was a woman who'd only just discovered, she's about just turned 60. She discovered that she has no visual imagination. So she cannot, without opening her wardrobe, she cannot tell me what's in there. She can't remember. So if she's in a shop looking at a red jumper, she's not able to visualize what she's got at home that might work with that red jumper. She just can't remember. So she wanted to just make sure I was okay with that and understood that before I worked with her. So I went and did a wardrobe analysis with her. And I noticed on the day that she had forgotten some of the outfits she tried on and showed me already. So
wow,
that was really interesting, a fascinating client to have. And she obviously enjoyed it, because we're going to do more. But and I have worked with a lot of people who have disabilities and mental illness and other kinds of challenges. So to me, it's just all interesting.
Yes.
I think she just wanted to make sure I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. I think something when we do our marketing, you know, we're writing blogs, we're writing social media posts, we're writing lead magnets and emails. All of that is content that we can hide behind, really. But being in a service industry, myself as a marketer, ultimately people are choosing whether to work with you as a person. So at some stage in your marketing journey, you need to be able to step out from the words and from the blogs and the images and get to know the person, start to bring in a personal touch. So that's why the discovery call is so important, because it can hasten the process of booking a client in. The challenge number one is the discovery call doesn't sound too fun. And we are all competing for the attention of clients. We are alongside every other business and brand in the world, trying to get the eyeballs, trying to get the clicks, trying to get people to spend time with us. So I think the first important point is to reconsider what we call the discovery call. We all know, everyone in the world knows that it's a sales call, and everyone in the world knows that they will be pitched to, but they will also have an opportunity to ask questions themselves. So if we can make the discovery call a more attractive proposition, and then when they're on that call, we're able to dig deeper. So for Donna, the efficacy for you lies in the fact that your leads are coming to you to share a personal challenge already. So straight away you go deep and emotional and personal, and you start building that trust. But for many other image professionals, you might find that your lead starts off with, I just don't know, I don't have anything to wear, I just want to look a little bit better, I want to find my style, which is very broad. And in a 20-minute conversation, we want to go as deep as possible. Interestingly, another statistic shows us that this was run by Zendesk, and they found that the highest converting sales calls or discovery calls had a ratio of talking and listening of about 50%. So in that discovery call, ideally, you'd only be chatting 50%. The rest of the time, you want that potential lead talking. So I don't know if any of you find this, but there will be people that find that challenging to either, sometimes it's challenging to listen because you feel so nervous you want to just say you can do everything. But there's a real knack here to being able to build trust and connection. And I think, Beck, as you were saying, really kind of see if the two of you are a right fit and go deep quite quickly. Donna, remind me what you call your discovery call?
That's an excellent question, Sarah. See, I just haven't even looked at that or updated it or anything for ages. I will have a little look, and
while you're investigating, does anyone have? Can anyone remember a discovery call that they have booked in for another service that they found really valuable? Can anyone remember, or is there a memorable discovery call that they've experienced personally?
Yes, I have had a really good one.
Tell us.
This is Kate.
Hi, Kate.
Yeah, I met with a photographer, and she called it a brainstorm, and she asked me questions, and she brainstormed with me how, basically like what my visual branding might be in terms of my photographs. And I found it really valuable.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's literally it. We could end this webinar now. Here's the trick. You have to make it valuable. So instead of presenting it to be, essentially, your discovery call needs a makeover. So if you can think about your niche client, who you are targeting, and what their challenges or needs are. So Kate, for you, the need for you as a client was you probably need to create a consistent visual brand. You might need some new photos. There was a specific need. That photographer could have had you on the phone saying, I'm just going to take you through the packages. This is how much it costs. This is what you get. But instead, that photographer dove straight into, very, very strategically, an opportunity to brainstorm, to get you feeling like they are hearing you and they're understanding you, and and you are able to imagine yourself already completing that work. So I want to make it sort of clear that there is some general functions that are important with a discovery call. You need to qualify the lead. We need to understand that potential lead's pain points, really what the challenges are. We want to make sure the questions we're asking are engaging, so they're not yes or no questions. So for example, instead of saying, like Donna, tell me one question. Well, no, I won't ask you, because then it sounds like I'm critiquing your flow. But let's say you ask the question, tell me a little bit about your shopping or styling challenges. If you were to make that a little bit more specific, you can get people talking a little bit quicker and more deeply. And when they feel like they've been talking and you've been hearing them, they are more likely to trust you and move along the process. So one example would be to ask them, what piece of clothing, what garment category do you find the most challenging? So I will always say denim. So if anyone said to me, okay, Sarah, I'm going to sell you a denim guide, customized denim shoppable board, or what have you, straight away it's specific, it's connected to a pain point. I feel like I'm on my way to getting it solved. So talking about those pain points is really important. Also, the reason why this call is valuable is because those pain points inform your marketing. So if you're finding that the people that you're chatting to are talking about specific pain points, that is a blog post right there. So we know then that when that person is searching on Google trying to find an answer to that problem, the statement they've already said has been turned into a blog post, which Google will hopefully find valuable and present in front of them. So it's really the holy grail. It's what we want, because as we know, if you can get them on the phone and you can get them talking, you can get them booking in. Does everyone feel that the challenge is more on the phone, what to say, what to do, how to convert, or is it how to get them to book the discovery call in the first place?
Sarah, yeah, I'm definitely the latter. And I found what my thing is. It's just so buried, and it's right down the bottom of every. So if you go in and have a look at my different offerings, it's right down the bottom of every page, and it says, want to know more about, in this example, the style direction session. That's the heading. And then it says, keen to work with me on your style, but want to make sure we click first. Not a problem. Get in touch to arrange a complimentary 15-minute starter session online or via phone where we can chat more about what you're hoping to achieve. I don't know. It just doesn't stand out.
No.
I like the idea that it's called style direction. Like, I think that's nicer than discovery call. But I do like that idea of renaming it and making it less discovery and more of like a free, book in for your brainstorming session or a vision session, or a, figure out your style personality, or something where they get something out of it, where it's more fun.
Yes.
Well, that's just the name of one of my services is Style Direction.
I like that.
Thanks. Thank you.
You're absolutely right, Laurie. Being able to make sure that they get something is key. So that's another hook that you can use when you kind of rebrand your discovery call into, let's say it's a style direction session or what have you, but being really clear what they get. It's not an arbitrary sort of conversation. There is a process, there's an agenda, and there's a deliverable. So there's no reason why you can't turn that into a mini Donna, knowing who your ideal client is and knowing the type of people you attract, they're typically very clear on what they need. So they might even appreciate not so much a broad phone call in which they don't need that. They say to you, I want steampunk, academia, whatever the style is. Maybe they would like some sort of form or checklist that they can start filling in to help. Maybe it's okay, here's the form. Prior to our call, you're going to indicate to me the 5 brands that you shop at, what you currently spend, so they feel like they're on their way to getting that process completed, rather than let's just chat about some stuff, because we know it's pretty hard. That person would have to almost be ready to book regardless of what happens on that call. And, in an ideal scenario, that would be the case, but it's not always. So that one thing I also wanted to say, we all prepare questions. If someone's booking in a discovery call, most of you will have a list of questions. So, please fill these questions in. Another way of getting people to feel a bit more excited and engaged is to give them a possible list of questions to ask you. Because what we want to do on a sales call is avoid yes/no answers. And we want to get people thinking. We want to get people imagining what the ideal scenario is for them. And so if you can show that you care, and if you can show that you are putting in that effort to begin with by saying, okay, this half an hour with me is really valuable. I want you to get the most out of it. Here are some questions that you might like to ask me that you might not have thought of. I guarantee they'll read those questions and go, oh my God, I never even thought of that. Tell me more, tell me more. It's a really great way of arming them with ideas and the possibilities that your services can deliver. What does everyone think about that? Great idea?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. I'm writing it down.
Good. Another thing, how many of you do your homework on the lead before you take the call, out of interest? Laurie, bit of stalking?
I do. Yeah. I always Google them and try to find their LinkedIn and, figure out where they found me, that kind of thing. Yeah. It makes me feel better just having that point of reference.
Yes. The other thing you can do is see if there's any commonalities, anything you guys share. If you have a look at their social media platforms, you just get a little bit of insight into who they are as a person. Because again, if you can make those connections and you've got something in common straight away, they feel more comfortable. What you as image professionals do for individuals is so healing and personal. You make them feel safe when they're vulnerable. You are integral to their career success or their personal fulfillment. So the relationship needs to begin as beautifully as you wish to continue. Even if they decide after speaking with you that they can't invest right now, or they're going to potentially think about it, they will talk about the experience they had with you. So they could say, yeah, I just had a chat with someone, found out what they do. Or they could say, you know what, it was such an interesting, unique, different experience. I'm really looking forward to it. And they will tell other people. So we want to maximize the value that we get from this discovery call. It's also a really exciting way of being able to understand where the market is headed, what people's needs are, instead of just assuming that everyone experiences the same challenges. This particular period in time, COVID and its sort of social and economic impacts and mental impacts, can shift consumer sentiment. It can shift the way people spend, what they spend on, what they care about. So the discovery call is also an opportunity for you to do a little bit of market research, and also to test different products and services. So again, if the discovery call doesn't convert straight away, you've got an opportunity with that person to test out and get feedback on things, sort of optimizing and adjusting services that you offer. So it's most certainly a pivotal piece in the puzzle. I wanted to also touch on being able to run the call in a cohesive way. Laurie, do you set an agenda? Do you kind of let the lead know at the beginning of the call what the process is going to be?
No, it's been pretty fluid. Yeah. Sometimes I have them fill out my client form ahead of time because it's got those questions, and then we just kind of chat through it. But I think I'd rather it be a bit more structured.
I think the structure is good because, firstly, I think everyone feels a bit safer and more confident when there's a structure. It means that you include those key points, introducing yourself and setting the tone, outlining what is going to occur on the call, understanding those pain points, then talking about the value that you deliver and the impacts that your business has had on other clients is also a really important part of the discovery call. So that's sort of the proof points that we often forget about, again, because it can be awkward to talk about ourselves. It can be awkward to know how to confidently but respectfully explain that it is in fact a good investment and this is what you receive. So having that structure in front of you, a kind of workflow, is really, really helpful. And then how do you sign off? Do you sign off with, okay, well, I'll just send you an email with next steps? Or do you set up the next phone call? What's the normal sign off for most of you that do a sales call? Beck?
I usually ask for the sale.
Mm-hmm. If you feel like they're ready. Mm-hmm. And what do you say?
I just say, so tell me your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And when would you like to get started?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it seems like they're a little on the fence, I will ask them, so what would it take to help you make this investment in yourself?
Fantastic point. What are the barriers, or what sort of, what's the hesitation, what other information isn't really clear. I think that's a really great one, because it gives people the opportunity to say honestly what hasn't come across clearly yet, which again is really great, because you can then take that information and make sure that is much more prominent on your website, particularly the homepage, social media, bios, emails. So it's a really asking about the barriers or the hesitations is key. But I guess it really depends on whether you can remember it, or whether you need to have a flow in front of you. So tell me, does anyone have has anyone linked their discovery call to their lead magnet in terms of creating a consistent theme?
No, but I'd like to know how to do it.
It's all just, again, it's about making the customer experience, the client experience, the buyer journey cohesive and linear. You know, we start with point A, which is your lead magnet, and Donna, you can. Marie, we haven't worked with Marie. Have we got your lead magnet?
No.
We'll go back to Donna for this example. Remind me of the lead magnet, Donna.
Oh, my lead magnet needs work. It's, once again, it's buried. I've got a page where I offer very inexpensive and free things that people can download, but it doesn't jump out. So I need to work on making that more prominent. So basically, I don't have one.
My lead magnet's been working quite well lately. I've been doing that personality quiz, the style type from Style Core, and I find it does get a lot of traction. And then what I do is I see what people's response was, and then I just reach out with an email and say, thanks for taking my quiz. I see that you were, your result was a miracle maker. Here's a recent blog post, that I've done on this style type. I'd love to chat. Let me know if you have any questions. And I've booked so many clients recently just on that. Like it's just that extra personal.
Yes.
Like it's actually me going in and taking the email and then doing a personal email outside of it being like a set response.
Yes.
It's been good.
This is so great. This is exactly the purpose. There is more and more pressure to personalize marketing information and client journeys now, which if you have a whole lot of systems, let's say, from a marketing perspective, if you're comfortable with a whole lot of different systems, great. If you have to do it manually, okay, it just means being able to take those additional steps and say, okay, I can see what your answers are. Here's some relevant information, a blog post, a link to a podcast episode or a YouTube video. And when that next step occurs, which is give me a call if you want to chat, you could tighten that up a bit and add a little bit of urgency and excitement around that by saying, like, I know that style quiz, you've come up as a style quester, so you're interested in, I'm just going to man out, what's the style quester? Just remind me. Like
you're just always searching. You can't really, you never feel satisfied. You don't really have a sense of what your style is, right? You're always shopping.
Perfect. So the discovery call might be, because you're never sure, you're always shopping, why don't you grab, why don't we just have a phone call and we can talk through 3 pieces in your closet that you can start to build consistency around, based on the behavior that they have, rather than saying, let's just have a call and chat. How can the call lead on to sort of build on the concepts that you've introduced in the lead magnet?
Yeah, I like that.
Laurie, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're booking a lot of calls.
Yeah, and that's new, because at first when I did the quiz, I put it on so it's just a pop-up on my website, and then I put it on my Instagram, and I did quite a few blog posts, so it got a lot of traction at the beginning.
Excellent.
And then I was like, is it worth it? It's there. And then I'm surprised how many people must be visiting the site, because I'm getting, several a week, and they're new people. So then I just go in, but I like I've just been linking the blog post and saying, here's a few ideas, but I like the idea of then linking that to some sort of planning session, a complimentary.
Yeah. But I mean, it's something that it could just be one thing, but it makes people think that they're going to achieve at least one thing. Just on that, Laurie, I mean, it's not the topic of today, but I just wanted to ask you, that's really interesting that you're getting a lot of traffic to that quiz. Do you have a look at the analytics and find out which acquisition channel is driving the most traffic?
It's mainly Google, some through my Instagram, but mainly Google
search.
Yeah.
Well, that is brilliant. I mean, that's the goal. That means that the people are looking for the solutions that you are creating content for. Spot on, Laurie.
That's good.
You can leave. You don't need any information. No, just
no, it's slow and steady with all this stuff that we're doing, right? Like that's quite new for me.
Yes, yeah. And also what I would say is no one in the world sets all of this up in the one go. You know, I think that when you're starting a business, you hear all these ideas and you may feel like, oh God, everyone did it right. And I've just got bits and bobs flying around everywhere. We all do. Don't worry about it. But this is a journey. This is, you know, every day we're building and chipping away at our business and tightening and tweaking and refining. I don't ever know whether there will be a perfect end result. I have a colleague who runs marketing and business development for dance studio owners, and she does $1 million launches. And yet another colleague of mine is working with her because she still doesn't think that there's things that are working and there's stuff that needs to be redone. So I just want to make sure that everyone walks away from these sessions with some ideas, but not feeling the pressure that everything they've done is wrong and that they've got to start again. So it's just about looking at what you've already set up and going, is it working? If so, brilliant, move on. If it's not, maybe you could apply one of these different strategies or ideas to see if you get a little bit more traction. But ultimately, the aim of the game here is to be relevant, be personal. You know, as Laurie said, you know, if someone's taken the time to do the quiz, responding to them with something that's relevant for them immediately results in engagement. And again, even if that person isn't ready to buy yet, you now have a relationship with that person. Laurie, you could just make a little note in an Excel file or a Word doc and just say, okay, you know what? These people didn't book in. So next month, I'm just going to send each one of them an individual email with another reference to something. It can be very attractive to just sort of do email, you know, all of your marketing, just do what we would call a blast to everyone and everyone gets the same thing. But if we look at the way we consume information and the way that we shop personally, what do we prefer? We prefer personalized suggested recommendations, things that speak in a tone that we appreciate, and we're becoming more discerning as consumers. So give yourself permission to step back from doing things at speed and in an automated way and think, how can I just make each one of these little tiny moments magical and really, really special and cool, something that I would love to experience.
Sometimes wonder, so like with the people who did the quiz and then I sent them a personal email, the ones that don't respond, is it too pushy then a month later to reach out again? If they've not responded, I take that as not interested. And then I just don't follow up.
I don't think it's too pushy at all, as long as you are providing value. There's also ways that you can deliver that information in a gentle way. You're not selling anything. You're just saying, hi again, you know, like for example, as image professionals, something that I've always believed in, you are the conduit between brands, retailers, and customers. So maybe the following month, Laurie, you can tell that they're a quester and they don't know what style they are. It's changing all the time. So you think, well, what are some things that are kind of classic, you know, must-haves? I'm going to find some brands that are on sale right now, and I'm just going to send a link with some brands. This is for my style questers who aren't, you know, whose style is always changing. When in doubt, get a basic that you'll be able to, work in a versatile way through everything. So it's not just keep reading blog posts, it's actually things that are helping them, because maybe they've not responded because they've got the information they needed and they're happy to keep doing it on their own. So just help them on the journey. Who has any questions?
Because I need to make my lead magnet or a call to action more dynamic, I've been thinking about potentially doing a pop-up, but I actually hate it when I go onto a site and there's a, subscribe now thingy before I've even got to read anything. And I always say to myself, give me a chance. I don't know if I want to subscribe. You might be really boring, or, you might not be of any value whatsoever. Yep. So I do know somebody who has timed her call to action, or, whatever it is, subscription thing, for about, I think it's about 90 seconds after someone's been on the site, or it might be just a minute or something. And I'm just wondering what other people think about what would be a nice sort of amount of time to lapse before that thing hits them.
I'm gonna jump in and say, Donna, have you checked from Google Analytics how long the average time on site is for your website?
Yeah, and it's not enough. Yeah, I need to address that. That's something else I need to address.
So let's say it might only be 57 seconds or what have you. I'm just making that up. That's from a Google Analytics perspective, that's a metric that we want to work on, which that's actually a really good topic for another tea and chat session. But you can, with your opt-in plugins, like Opt-in Monster, for instance, you can delay. You will always be able to delay them, and the more you pay for these plugins, the levels, the more functionality you get. So something like Opt-in Monster, you can delay the pop-up for maybe 10 seconds, or you could only show it if someone is about to exit, or you could add in a filter which says wait 5 seconds, or if they click on this, then it pops up. So to that point, I guess, once someone arrives on your site, let's say your homepage, we want to keep them there as long as possible. We want to keep them on your website as long as possible. And we also want to make sure that we capture their details, which is why we have the lead magnet, and it's why we have all of this useful information. So the discovery call, which we have, most people do, Donna, as you've mentioned, you hide it down the bottom as got any questions? Click here. Want to learn more? Click here. It is always down the bottom. It would be really, really great if you guys could take your homepage and make your discovery call the first step in their journey. The lead magnet and the discovery call is really like an opportunity for you to be quite prescriptive with how you engage with my business. So at the very top, I would say majority of you will have a main banner image with maybe a quote over the top of it. That's prime real estate there. But you could instead have information about a lead magnet, and then the sort of related discovery call to say, hi, welcome. This is, welcome to my business. No, shush. I'm so sorry. Welcome to my business. The first step is this. 1 second. The first step is to download, this guide, or this is my lead magnet. And then the next step is we're going to have a conversation and go through those answers together and brainstorm X, or we're then, based on your answers, we're then going to have a phone call and we're going to define why. So you just let people know straight away. It shouldn't be an afterthought. It's actually the first thing, because if you think about it, they're not ready to do anything else. They're just kind of looking for information. So let's give them the most vital information to begin with.
That's good. Can I ask, does everybody do their own everything when it comes to social media? Or did you have anybody helping you at the start and setting up things? Or has everyone done everything from scratch?
Great question.
I do my own.
Scratch.
Yeah.
Sorry? I didn't
I
get
said
that.
I do
Donna.
my own.
People are doing their own.
I do my own too. I work with a photographer a couple times a year to get some nice photos, you know, brand type photos, which I find are good for blogs and social media, and get a lot of traction from those. So I think that makes a difference.
It absolutely does. Patricia, do you have some photos? Have you got some photos?
Yes, I have, and I'm going to work with a friend of mine who's a great photographer. She's going to help out and things. But I just want to, you know, all these sort of analytics and all that sort of stuff. To me, all the social media part of things, I'm good at doing basic things, but when it comes to really knowing the best approach, I think, gosh, yeah, I'm not great at that. So, yeah.
There's so much to know, Patricia.
There
There's
is.
so much, which is why I'm always on Sarah's calls.
Yeah.
Takes time too. Time.
Yeah.
It does
Okay.
take time. It just give me 1 second, ladies. I just need to let this dog out.
SEO is just a minefield. It's really quite a discipline. I know basics, but there's so much to get your head around.
The technical SEO, structural SEO is absolutely, it's its own discipline and hard to get your head around. But if I could summarize on-site SEO, and really the only kind of key things that small business owners need to understand, particularly if you don't have the budget to work with an agency, Google only wants to show the best and most relevant information to its users. That's its mission. Google's mission as a business is to make information accessible to everyone. That's its mission. So if you think about it, all you have to do is create information that is relevant for the person that you're trying to attract. What that does mean is that you won't be, you can't compete with people that have been writing about black dresses or sustainable brands for the last 10 years, because Google knows these people have been writing about this stuff for years. So we as business owners have to think, okay, how can I get a little bit more niche? How can I get a little bit more specific? Maybe I can write information for people that are looking for sustainable brands for women in their 60s that have big feet. This sounds ludicrous, but it's creating qualifiers. So Google knows that your information is the most relevant search result to present to someone who's looking. And when it comes to social media content, your typical social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook, you have to either cultivate a genuine sense of community, which, how do you do that? You talk about something that people care about, and you bring your own honest, genuine insights and interest to a group of people, or you create visual images like on Instagram that capture people's attention. So Patricia, what I would say for you, particularly when you're starting out, is think of something that you enjoy doing. You know, do you prefer writing? Does writing come naturally to you, or do you prefer creating visual images, or do you prefer talking on camera? Think about the medium that you feel is your strength and focus on that medium rather than trying to create content for all of these different platforms. Those of you that have worked with me are familiar with the what's called the inverted pyramid content strategy. Very fancy terms for a simple concept, which is pick one piece of content to work on for the month. Maybe it's a blog post, maybe it's a lead magnet, maybe it's a little webinar. and then just break that down and promote it across different platforms, rather than thinking I've got to create a social media post every day. Because when you do that and you're not thinking about the journey, how that particular post connects to other things, it's honestly just a waste of your time, because it's seen by such a small percentage of your audience, and then it goes down the feed and people don't see it again. So I hope what's clear is, when you're coming from your heart and you're thinking what is genuinely interesting, then what you can do is just jump on Google and type in the topic that you're thinking about writing about, and see what other search results come up, see what suggested terms come up, or other sort of questions or key phrases come up. You can get a sense of how popular a topic is and what your opportunity is to rank in the first 1 or 2 results on page 1.
Yeah. Thank you. That's great. That's great advice.
Pleasure. All right, ladies, if there's any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, what I'm going to do today is just write down a couple of ideas of how to make your discovery calls more effective, and put together a workflow which you can use on a call if that's useful. But thank you all for joining and for sharing your insights. I can't do these without you, so thank you.
Thank you
very much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, everyone.